It's exciting when hockey season starts, but now it's time to put hockey on the back burner, I think, for a little bit until we get to January-ish.
Well, what I saw last night was a team that I think we all have completely overrated for the last year or two. I mean, it wasn't a fluke that they lost last night. Buffalo was better than them.
Buffalo was
and I think
better.
That's
they're younger. They're faster.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
What the Penguins used to be.
We go into the season, sooner or later, as Charles Barkley says, Father Time is undefeated. And when your superstars are 31, 32, 33 or whatever, you know what? Sooner or later that catches up to the point where they're not carrying the team like they used to be able to. And we used to be able to count on, okay, they're going to turn it on, and this is what's going to happen. But really, I think the biggest thing there is it's not necessarily going to happen anymore. I think this group, probably has won their last cup. And they look to me like the team that's going to be somewhere like 6th, 7th.
They get in anything
8th.
can happen. I thought Evgeny Malkin looked like the best player on the ice.
Yeah,
last night.
but what I'm saying is I think they're a team that, they used to be every year because of the stars, we'd say, well, here's a team that, they're going to be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in hockey. I don't think they're that. I don't even think they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the East. I think they're probably 6 to 7, maybe 8th, somewhere in that category where they're probably going to finish 4th or whatever, or 3rd or 4th, and struggle to get through the playoffs. So it's not a knock on them. Well, it's not a panic either. It's watching the game and being realistic and saying, boy, they've got some shortcomings. They're going to play better than they did, you know what I mean? But I think even if they played better last night, they wouldn't have won the game.
Well, the shortcomings, I think one of the big ones is depth with this team.
Right.
And I don't mind what they did. To be honest with you, I wish the Pirates would have done it. You mortgage a future for right now. They won 2 Stanley Cups. So I think anytime you can complain about the Penguins and you look at what they're doing now, they won 2 Stanley Cups. And it's hard. It's hard to win a championship in any league, and they were able to do it back-to-back years, and they did mortgage some of their future to get it done. So, I mean, I wish the Pirates would have done that. I would have loved to have seen at least win a National League pennant or get to the World Series, and they never did it. The Pirates are the exact opposite, where they would never even think about mortgaging future for right now. And they had their chances in 2015.
They won 2 Stanley Cups. You can't argue with it.
You can't argue with it. And now you might go through a down period until they.
I think the other part of it is, Jim Rutherford's a wheeler and dealer.
Yeah.
If you look at probably his last 8 to 10 to 12 moves, he's lost more of them than he's won.
I don't disagree with you there. Let's go out to the phone lines. We got Frank out in Moon. What's up, Frank?
Hey, guys.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for taking it. Hey, I have a question. I was watching a couple games tonight, Winnipeg and Jersey, and I'm watching these kids, 18, 19 years old, that were drafted that are playing like now. And we had 2 really good kids in preseason that were doing really well, and we keep wasting our time with Simone and with Ashton Reese. And why don't we give these kids a shot? You know what I mean? We've been waiting for Simone for 3 years now.
You know what? Here's the thing. Sullivan really likes Dominic Simone, and Sidney Crosby seems to really like Dominic Simone. So are you going to tell those 2 guys that let's try one of these younger guys instead? I'm not going to question.
I'll say this. If Sullivan doesn't turn things on and get this thing moving in the right direction, and he's, too loyal to some of these guys that aren't helping him, there's a chance in my mind that it could be the end for him.
Yeah, I mean, one of your guys on the fan today, Chris Muller, I was listening to him coming into work, and he was talking about, he thinks this could end in December for him. And it was one of his predictions. So Pony and Muller were talking about that today. But, I mean, that's very realistic. If this team continues to struggle and they're at the bottom of the standings, that's what they do in hockey. You make changes. And there's no question that could happen. And that's how the Penguins have tuned out coaches, and they turned things around when they made a coaching change after the holiday. All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. We got Norm out in Waynesburg. What's up, Norm?
Hi, Rich.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Mr. Zeise, do you remember Gonchar with the Penguins when they won the Cup, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think about him?
Well,
he was a good defenseman. What are you getting to?
He was a good defenseman.
I'm getting to the power play. Rich, they need to have better power play point guys.
Well, that's what. One of the changes they made today, they took away Chris Letang and moving Schultz there, and maybe that might work a little bit better.
I'm not ripping Sullivan. You tell him to look at the films of the '80 world champion New York Islanders. It was awesome.
Well, I appreciate the call, Norm. I think the game has changed a lot from the 1980s, but the Penguins definitely have so much talent on that power play. Even without Phil Kessel, they should still be a really good power play.
Yeah, and they had back-to-back power plays in the third period. They were awful. Yeah,
and you can't continue to turn pucks over. I think Chris Letang had 4.
And
so
he's supposed to be,
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like one of the best in the business in that position.
All right, back up the phone lines. Let's go out to Pete out in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Pete?
Rich.
Hey, thanks for calling, Pete.
Back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Rich. This will be a season-long problem with the Penguins. Their defensive core as a unit, the mobility is horrible, Rich. It's like they skate in quicksand.
Yeah, they look slow. They look slow.
Sabres can put 41 shots on goal on you, okay? The Buffalo Sabres are not an offensive juggernaut. They're so limited offensively in how they controlled the game last night because the Penguins' defense cannot skate the puck out of the zone. They cannot start transition. They get trapped in their own end. That's a recipe for disaster.
17 turnovers, too, Pete. 17 turnovers.
Kenny Malkin, it's common knowledge within the insiders in hockey. He does not want to play for this coach. He has had enough. That's why he acted like he did all last season, and nobody turns it on and off in professional sports. It doesn't work that way. He will have another long season. He wants out of here. He wanted to go to Florida and play for Quenneville. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. I don't know how true that is, and I'm not buying that. I think he wants to be here, and the reason I think he wants to be here is because he doesn't have to be the guy. If he goes anywhere else, he would have to be the guy. Here, Sidney Crosby's the guy. So I think he likes the role he's in right now. And I don't know if he doesn't like the coach, but
last year, him and Phil Kessel both, there was a number of stories about both of those guys not getting along with Sullivan, not seeing eye to eye with him, and all that other stuff. So
they both wanted to play together.
It's not that big of a stretch. I think Malkin's biggest thing is he seems to never be happy with who he's playing with. Yeah,
and he's always getting the guys that Sidney Crosby doesn't want to play with most of the time. Look, it's a long season. It's the first game, and we can talk about the Penguins. I want to see where they are at the end of this month. They have a lot of home games. So if they continue to struggle at home, then there's going to be a big issue. But like you said, hey, Mike Sullivan might not make it through the holidays if it continues to go like it did. And if they continue to look slow like they did and get outshot by the Buffalo Sabres, then there's a real problem. So I have to take this to break. We'll be back to take more phone calls coming up next. Stay right there.